Hello, welcome aboard, welcome back. If you are new to the channel, please hit the subscribe down there and give us a thumbs up, leave a comment, ask a question, whatever. It all helps the channel moving forward. So welcome back. Here we are now with part 9, I think this is. Part 9 of the 135th Alvis Stalwart from Airfix, and what a lovely little kit it's turning out to be. It's so lovely, I've bought 2 of them. So yeah, really chuffed with it. So, moving along. I have just made a very big mistake which I wish I hadn't made. I've done it recently on my Fiat 131 channel. If you don't know about that channel, go take a look. Nigel's Fiat 131. I'm basically restoring and converting a Fiat 131 into an Abarth replica rally car Group 4. So currently rebuilding the engine and gearbox just so I can drive the car around for a few weeks before it gets completely stripped to get the body shell converted. So yeah, I made the same mistake here as I made over there, and basically turned the camera off. I'm just looking down to make sure the camera's on. Turned the camera off when I was thinking it was on. So basically I've got a little remote unit over here, which is a load of garbage, much like the camera itself. And you have a button you press, and sometimes it doesn't register, so you sort of press it twice and then you hear a beep and you think, right, that's it, the camera's going. And what you don't realise is you've turned it on and then off. So I've just done probably 15 minutes worth of build work and not recorded any of it. So I'm afraid I'm going to have to explain stuff rather than show you what I'm doing. I have got another one. I don't know if I'll do a video build of it or not. We shall see. Probably not. But I am going to do a video build of building this bottom end. So as you can see, we have suspension components on here. Now, the first thing I want to do, I've got this block of cardboard here which fits the bed beautifully. And the reason I put it on there is I don't want to snap any of this off here. Okay, so this is a lovely little block of cardboard, and that'll just sit like that. And all this is corrugated cardboard from a box, cut into strips roughly 1 inch wide, and then folded over, wrap parcel tape around it, and you've got a box. And it's brilliant for if you've got your little clips for holding your painted parts in. You can stand them up in there for painting them or for holding them, letting them dry. So to save you buying the other things. Other people use foam, they use the stuff that flower arrangers use. There's all sorts of different ways, but this is absolutely free and available. Pretty much everybody's got a cardboard box in their house, haven't they? Especially with the looks of Amazon these days. So let's go take a look at the instructions. Right, so the instructions will have you fit this part here, glue it in. Then fit the shock absorbers. Okay, pass them up through, do not glue them, and then place them into those grooves and glue them in place. And then you're going to come along, you're going to build up all your hubs, fit your hubs, add these swivels, fit them in there, get that all glued in place, and then you've got these little greeblies going in around the suspension, the torsion bars. And then you're going to fit your steering components. Okay, so you've got your arm there, which enables the front 4 wheels to steer. And then you've got your main steering box there, and then you've got your link there, your tie rod, which is going to tie the hub into the steering. And then do the same on the other side. Bear in mind at this point, we've got all the hubs glued in, and we don't know where they are up and down, because there is no real positive. I'll show you on here. I'll show you on this one because it's clearer to see. They're basically all the same. It's just the front doesn't have the shock absorbers coming through. The shock absorbers on the front rest on the upper arm. You can see that I can put that in there, okay? And I've got loads of play, and it could basically go anywhere, all right? So what I've decided to do, you can see I've also got the disc brakes fitted. More about that in a minute. So what I've decided to do is not do any of this. So what I'm doing, I'm going from, I've got some advice on this as well. I'm going from step 39, okay, and then building up step 40, don't do 46. So I'm doing 40 through 45, don't do 46. You can fit these little bits in here and this piece here, D5. Again, this arm here is not glued in. Okay, that's not glued in, so it's positionable. Then I'm not doing any of the steering. I've put in all these tie downs. You can see them along here. Okay, and they're all perpendicular to the side of the hull, so they're at an angle, as you can see there. So I put all those tie downs in because they'll be difficult to access when these pieces go in. All right. So none of this, and then here, fit that in with no glue, fit your shock absorbers, more on that in a minute, build up your hubs and everything in your drive shafts, but then don't do any of that, fit these greeblies, don't do any of that, and now we're on to fitting I've got the lifting eyes to go in, and now we're into fitting these parts here. Now I have a suggestion to make, okay, when you are at steps 39 and step 54, get these parts off the sprue. Okay, the model is engineered in such a way you can't get them mixed up, so just get them off, clean them up and go for it. Okay, because this one is straight, as you can see there, that's going to fit on there, and this one has a big slot on it, so that's going to fit into there. All right, now then, this is why I say fit these. Don't glue them, just use them as a template when you fit the shock absorbers, because the shock absorbers have to fit up into these areas here. Okay, now if they don't go right in, it's going to hold those arms up. And you may be able to hear, when I push down on this, no, yeah, they did it at the end, and you may be able to see a bit of a stress mark here. I didn't put these in until after the shock absorbers are dried. So I recommend when you fit the shock absorbers, so when you're at this stage here, fit the shock absorbers and then put this on and make sure those shock absorbers are going neatly into their seats in here. Okay, I'm not worried about these ejector pin marks because they're on the back and they're going to get covered in mud anyway. Okay, so make sure they go in neatly. All right, and then you can take these off and let the shock absorbers dry and put your lifting eyes, your towing down eyes and everything. All right. So that would be my build sequence, and that is what I'd recommend. I'm going to push these over a bit more. Okay, just to get them over a bit more, because I didn't think of that when I was actually doing it, so that's why I'm helping you out by letting you know now. The other thing I would say, what I'm going to do on my next one is I'm going to fit these side panels to the floor, fit the front, fit the back, and then do all of this work before we do anything on the cab or anything, because having it all upside down and sat on the roof and everything is not the best. Okay, so my build sequence is fit the upper arm here, which is part D31 and D30. Fit them but don't glue them. Okay, put your shock absorbers in. These front ones can be glued in. Don't glue them to this arm. You want this to be movable. Then I can fit these greeblies on, and that helps to hold these arms in. All right, so that's a good thing. And when we come to glue them onto the torsion bars, we'll just put a clamp on them and hold them in to keep them up against it. These parts here, D5, are these two lumps here, part of the steering mechanism. They're very, very tight, and they fit down and they hold on those torsion bars nicely. So that helps keep them in place. Okay, so my next move now will be to actually fit these and glue them in position. Now what I'm going to do here is actually not glue the inside yet. In fact, yes I will, I'll glue the inside and not the outside. What I'm going to do is glue the inside, let that dry nice and solid, and then I'm going to come along with clamps and clamp on here to make sure that those shock absorbers are well seated. So the first thing we'll do here is, in fact, I just noticed there's some seams I want to clean up. We've got some mould seams on there, which I just want to give a quick scrape over just to reduce, just in case we decide not to cake it all in mud. That'll probably make it a bit dirty. I'm not going to go to the extent of Moss. If you haven't seen Moss's build, go and have a look. Moss 651. There's photographs on Facebook. I'm not sure. This is what's this now? Tuesday morning. As of now, I'm not sure that he's done anything on YouTube. I think he's just putting up a quick few videos. I don't think he's doing a full build like me. Probably because I've already done it. But I will be doing very soon. I'll be doing a video on what I think about the front end and how to fit that front panel and everything, or how I'm going to do it the second time round. I think there's more than one way to skin a cat with this one. You see the seams on this one are nothing like the size of the seams on the other one, and they're pretty much right next to each other on the sprue. It's crazy. So I hope you're all building one of these, and I hope you're all enjoying it. I know a few of you have had a right old moan about the kit. But I don't think those moans are really 100% justified. Yes, it has some sink marks. Yes, the quality control needs to be looked at. You know, but we must remember that recent toolings from Airfix have been phenomenal. They've been very, very good indeed. And yes, I mean, people have been saying, I was on the, I was looking at Moss's live stream last night. People were saying they think it's very toy-like. I disagree completely. I don't think there's anything toy-like about it. I think compared to a mini mark kit, it's very simplistic. But I think compared to a mini art kit, a Tamiya kit is very simplistic, but I don't hear people saying that's toy-like. I see nothing toy-like about this. If this was mini art or perhaps Gecko, it would probably have working suspension, which would be a nightmare. It would have lots and lots of photo etch parts, which, you know, yeah, we love photo etch, but sometimes it can be a bit overkill. Right, so what I'm going to do is place these parts in here, and then I'm going to get 2 heavy metal weights. Oh, that's not going to work. That's just making the okay, what we'll do then, we'll get this piece of aluminium and lay it down there, and then I can't glue it, but we'll just, okay, that'll hold it all down. Right, so this piece of aluminium is, where's my rule? I'm not going to bother with the calipers. This piece of aluminium is 25mm wide. Okay, in fact there's a straight block there. That's a 25mm square piece of aluminium. So I can sit that on there, and that's going to sit on these inner pivots. So when I glue it, it's going to push the whole lot down. If I put the weight on the outside, it's just so it makes them do this. So we'll put some cement in there. I missed. A nice big drop in there. We'll put a nice big drop in there. This is actually Mr. Hobby Tool Cleaner, guys. This is something that was recommended to me by Moss himself. I thought I'd give it a go, and I won't use it on every kit, but certainly on this kit I have found that the extra thin is not working very well, whereas this stuff, it bites instantly. I'll tell you what we could do, we could put the floor in and put some weight on that. That'll hold it down, won't it? You can hear that's going to have to be clamped down. So what I need is something narrower, so back to this one again. So we'll put that on there and then put a weight on there. There we go. So that should hold everything down. Or I'll tell you what we could do. Let's get rid of our weights. Let's grab our big Rebel Hobby clamps from Sweden and clamp on there. And get another one on here. Open. And then a fourth one on there. Okay, so that's cool. So what we can do is now stand that up on its stilts and let that dry. So you can see now that is all clamped in place, and we'll let that dry and then we'll fit the outers and clamp them as well. Notice there's no hubs or anything in place. My sole objective, the reason for changing all of this build sequence, is because I want to make sure that all 6 wheels are touching the ground. If you look on the Airfix website, the one at the front there has got 1 wheel in the air. We need to make sure that all 6 wheels are touching the ground. If we get a tiny little discrepancy, we can just roll the finished model, or not roll it, drag it across a piece of coarse emery or keep wet and dry, and that will take off little flat spots. But remember, these tyres were pumped up pretty hard and they don't seem to have any flat spots on them. I'm sure people will come out with resin wheels with great flat spots on them, but when you look at them in real life when they're stood, they don't flat the tyres at all. So I'll see you back in a minute. Okay then guys, a little bit off topic, and I'm sure this will create a load of comments in return. I recently bought a new chair from Amazon, and it's not the most expensive chair on there. In fact, it's one of the cheapest, but it's a typical, office chair, sort of spider 5 legs, hydraulic cylinder in the middle, goes up and down, seat to sit on that. And I'll be sat here modelling, and all of a sudden it just drops. Okay, so you lift it back up again and it'll stay there. It might go down in the next 10 minutes, or it might go down in the next hour. It might not go down for another 2 days. All I want to do, I bought it at the end of February. Okay, so I got it like 1st of March or something. And all I want to do is speak to the seller, the company I bought it from, and say, could you please send me a replacement cylinder? They could, it's about, it's 50 mil diameter and about that long when it's compressed. They could easily send it to me. But can I get hold of the seller? No. All I get is the Amazon bloody office assistant bot crap, which is absolute rubbish. And then you go to the Amazon customer services, and after sitting around on the phone forever and pressing bloody codes, you get, it is not possible to return this order as the window has closed. Is there anything else I can help you with? You're like, can I just order a replacement part? The seat is broken. I'm sorry, I do not understand the request. It is not possible to... So you go onto their bloody chat thing on there. Oh, it's just an absolute waste of time. So bear that in mind. If you're buying something from Amazon, which is... I've learned a big lesson today. But certainly now in future, if I want to buy like a TV or a laptop or something, I ain't getting it from Amazon, because I ain't going to get no support whatsoever. It is an absolute waste of time. If you know different, please let me know, because I'm all ears. But I know certainly with this bloody chair, had I bought this from PC World or B&Q or any other office supplies place, I could just get on the phone or get on the email and say, this chair is faulty, would it be possible to get another cylinder? And they'd probably come back and say, yeah, we'll send you one by return. Could you return the old one by return of post so we can get a refund from our supplier? Something like that. Oh, no, you can't speak to somebody. No, you've got to speak to a bloody computer. Ugh, so fed up with this AI shit. Excuse my language. Anyway, it's like now on YouTube. If you're a YouTuber, you'll know when you make your comments, I get a load of AI suggested responses. Some of them I use because they're perfectly what I would say, but sometimes it's like, oh dear, there's the doorbell now. Hang on. Actually, that was my neighbours with some beer for me. Thank you very much, neighbours. I did some work on their bike for them. Right, so what we need to do now, you can see here we've got movement there. So what I'm going to do is first of all cement this. I'm not going to cement it after clamping, because these big clamps have the foam on them, and of course the glue could capillary under the foam. So you can hear that clicking into place. So what I'm going to do is just put a clamp on there, just pull it down until it clicks, and then it will stay there. Now this one is also slightly deflecting, so what I'm doing is I'm going to pull them down, or not. Remember, this is not going to give us our guarantee of having wheels on the ground, okay? This is just making sure that all the wishbones are where Airfix intended them to be. And be careful not to squeeze it too hard, because the wishbones will flex. Okay, and then we do the same on these. drop of cement in each of those, and then a clamp over the top. Just like so. Oh, come on, stay on there. There we go. And then finally, this will obviously we're not going to do the forward one because there's nothing there to support it. So that's going on like that. There we go. There we are. Okay. So guess what we're going to do now? We're going to let that dry. Okay, a little while later now, I'm going to take these clamps off. So, as I've mentioned on many occasions, thanks to Moss, I'm using the Mr. Hobby tool cleaner on this, and it's working wonderfully. As a cement, I mean. Right, so now I'm going to show you why I've changed the build sequence. If you follow the instructions, they would have had us glue these in and then glue the hubs in. Now the problem is, okay, let's get this. That's the foremost one. The one at the back is the one with no lumps on it. So there we go. This is the one with no. You can see this one has got 2 square blocks on either side. Okay, and this one has only got 1. All right, so this one has none. So this one is going in the back, and we need to make sure we put them in with that circular part facing up. Now you can see I've glued the disc brakes on. The reason for that is so I can get everything level. If we just had the hubs sitting there, I'd have a tiny little step to pick up on. So now I've got the bottom edge of the disc brake to sit on to make sure that everything's square and that all the wheels will be on the ground. So if you remember, Airfix told us to clip these in and don't glue them. So that's going to go into there. So I'm going to put the end of the shaft into the gator on the drive, and then we can see up in there, and then pull that up into there. And you can see that we've got all this movement. Now, if I glued this in that position, and then I glued the hub in here as was requested in the instructions, I would now have an issue because this needs to go up. Okay, and this is why I haven't glued this piece, so that I can move it around. Once I've got the position, then we can move it around and get it to line up. It's not really that important because you're not going to see any of it anyway. Now here, this is where we're going to need to do a bit of scratch building, I think. And this may be a problem for some of you. But it's not something you have to do, but it's something I think I'm going to do. You can see here that we have, I've got a bit of a sprue gate there still. Let me just sand that off. Let me get rid of these clamps as well, because they're not good for the background, are they? They're great as clamps, but they don't make a good background. So I'm just going to sand that sprue gate off of there. I've probably got one. I'll do the other side as well, just in case there's anything left there. Okay, so we'll go back to here, and we're going to put this one into that hole, and then get that up into there. And you can see that the gap in here is wider than the actual. If we look at this one here, you can see this is what's going to go in there, and you can see that it's actually wider. It needs packing out. So what we could do is punch out some little plastic cards and put them in, or we could just leave it as it is. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to take some cement and I'm going to glue the end of this drive shaft in, but nothing else. I'm just going to glue the end of the drive shaft in. Okay, and that way we will have some movement. As you can see, I can move it up and down. I can move it 4 1/2, so in other words, get it square so it's not steering. Okay, and I'm just going to do 1, and that is going to be my datum. Now, as you can see, we have a bit of positive camber. That means the wheels are exaggerated. The wheels, when you look from the back, will be like this. They're not like that. They're not vertical. They have a bit of positive camber. And that's the way Airfix has designed it, so that's what we're going to go with. Alright, so that's all I'm doing is gluing that axle shaft in, and that way you can see we've got this this upright piece is free to move around. It can move up and down, and it can move from left to right. Just like so. Okay. So there we are. I'm just going to pull that shaft out a touch to get that to line up flush there. Okay, so this is where you're going to need a bit of jiggery pokery, because that's got a lot of play in it, as you can see. If I hold the wheel still, you can see that move. So we're going to not worry so much about that hub, because that's all movable. What we're worried about is getting this square, and we can deal with that later. So I'm going to let that glue joint dry off and then deal with it afterwards. Okay, I'm just doing one. If I go and glue them all now, we've got to start pulling everything around to make it fit. So I'm just doing one just to start with. And what we'll do then, once that one's dry, we'll get that one square with that one. Alright, and then when we've got those two dry, then we can get those two square with these two, and then we can put the middle ones into touch. It looks like, basically, when it's sat down, if you imagine this sanding stick is the base, it looks like the disc brake is going to sit down on the base. Okay, so that's looking good. That's going to make it very easy. So just get a nice flat plate, stick this down, put a bit of weight on it, and push all the wheels down. We can put a bar across the top of the brakes or something and hold them down. But at the moment, all I'm doing is gluing that axle so that I've got movement. Okay, so it's firmly held in place, but I've got movement. And you can see that when the wheel goes on, it's all going to look lovely. There we go. Right. I will be back in a minute for you later on for me. Let's get my wooden block back. Cardboard block back. We'll sit that on there like that. There we go. Okay, back in a bit. Okay, we're back. So it's the next day now. You can see I've got my acrylic board here. This is for cutting photo etch. And I've got a couple of business cards under here. This is just to get it level. You can see we've got spirit level, so it's kind of level. And it's a nice flat square surface. Now if you remember, we glued this on. This is ages ago for me, it's seconds ago for you. We glued this on and it's only glued in by the axle, and you can see that it's actually quite solid. It's not glued to anything else. We haven't glued these upper wishbones in. They're still all floppy and loose. So all it's doing is sitting there like that. Now if we sit it on these wishbones, okay, because the disc brake is actually, you can see there, if I put a straight edge across, you can see that the disc brake is actually higher. It's you know, up away from the sanding stick. So what I've done, I've put this down on here, put the spirit level on there, okay, so it's roughly level, and then I can, with two of these business cards, you can hear that it's just sliding underneath the disc brake. So if I do the other one now on the other side and get it right, then we will have roughly a parallel rear end to work from, and then we can move forward. So what I'm going to do is find this is the rear one. Okay, the rear one has no nubbins on it because it doesn't steer. So make sure it goes in the right way up. So that is actually going to go in like that. Okay, so it's going to go up and under. Alright, so I'm going to grab some of the Mr. Tool Cleaner, put that in that hole, and then stick this in the hole, just like so. And there we are. Okay, and then I'm just for good luck going to put some more cement in there like that. Okay, so that is now held in there. So what we can do is put this down on here, and I can grab my two business cards, and I can see that that is slightly lifting it. So what I do is leave those under there, put the level on there as a weight, and just leave it to dry. I'm just going to quickly check before we. Just going to check the upright is in the right position. Yes, it is. So we'll put that down. We'll put our business cards underneath. Put some weight on it, and again, just leave it to dry for a few hours. Yes, if you haven't got patience and you want to get your model done, you could probably just go on and put all the others on the same now, and they'll all come out all right. But I would rather do it the proper way, use some patience, and make sure we get all 6 wheels touching the ground. Back in a bit. Okay, we're back. Sorry there was no video for you yesterday. I was away playing cars, so away from the house actually, playing proper cars. So there will be a video about that on my Fiat 131 channel, so go and have a look at that. It's worth seeing. So where we got to on Wednesday, we got these glued in, so they're all nice and solid now. The glue's all set, so everything's sitting nice and level. So if you remember, we had the truck sat on its wishbones here, and then we had the business cards underneath, 2 business cards, and then set the wheels to that. So what I'm going to do now, put this on my flat block, and I can see that the model is pretty much level with the just sat on those wishbones. So that's good. That's a good thing. So what we need to do now is take 2 business cards here, 2 business cards here. Yes, they're Brooks Models business cards. Rob supports me. I support Rob over at Brooks Models. And yeah, you'll get some fantastic discounts if you use the codes as I think are described in the description below this video. So basically now we have the model is sat on this acrylic block on its wishbones, and these 2 business cards each side are underneath each disc brake. This is why I put the brakes on. Okay, so what we're going to do now is replicate that on the front. So we've got the back now square. So what we can do now is replicate this on the front. So I'm going to take this front unit here. I know which one's the front because the actual front unit has the 2 blocks. This is the middle one, which only has the 1 block. Okay, the rears have no blocks. So we're going to put this in the right way up. So with the front one, this should have the disc, the caliper facing up and forward. Okay, so that's going to go into there, just like so. Okay, and then this one here is this side, so that's going to go into there, just like so. Okay, all right, so that's going to go in like that. And then what we can do is use our tool cleaner. Somebody else I've noticed commented that they've used Tamiya Extra Thin and it's absolutely fine. It is absolutely fine. I glued all this together with Tamiya Extra Thin. It's just that it takes a while to bite. And when I say bite, I don't mean go off, I mean bite. So we know that with most model kits, you like if it had the grey plastic, you fit an instrument panel and like within seconds it's bit. You can pull it off, but it's there. It's with this I found that doesn't happen. The plastic just stays all gooey. So we've got those in there like that now. So they're just glued in with their axle shafts in the centres. Put another drop in there, get a real nice load of welding going on. Notice I haven't glued any of the ends, I've only glued the actual axle shafts. So we'll place that on there on those business cards. Just turn this around so I can see what I'm doing. Slide that under there, slide that under there. Note the model is not sat on the business cards, it's just the disc brakes that are sat on the business cards. So we'll slide that under there. And then we'll slide these 2 under here. The reason I'm using the acrylic block, if you're wondering, is because I know it's flat. This is like a paper stuck to a cutting mat, and it's kind of, you know, it's not dead level. Okay, so there's the model held down. I'm going to put that on there just to weight it down. All right. Now, where these wheels are, we need to make sure they are pushed down onto these business cards. So what we can do is grab a couple of things which have a bit of weight in them. We could use some sanding sticks. Just place that on there like that. And another one, just move this back a bit. Place that one on there like that. And that will just make sure, if you really want to put some weight on, we can put some Tamiya paint pots like that. This one's full of Mustang screws. Here we go. And then just leave that to cure. I know it's taking time, it's taking your patience, but it's what modelling is all about, and we will end up with a lovely result at the end of it. So there we go. I'm going to call it a day for this one. This is part 9, I believe, so I can get the video out there. I've got lots of other stuff coming your way as well. I've got a new kit review coming. There's another book review very shortly coming, and also a giveaway as well. Going to be doing a giveaway very soon. So yeah, stay tuned, watch this space. If you're not already subscribed, please hit the subscribe down there, and give us a thumbs up if you've liked the video, and leave a comment, ask a question, whatever. It all helps, all goes towards the algorithms and keeps the channel busy. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.